for Curtis Martin. Martin, midfield. Cracked down at the 40-yard line and a penalty marker.
Here's play before. That's J.J. Stokes, I think, talking to Bill Romanowski. Ooh, and there is a real lack of social graces on the part of Romanowski.
Drop setting up the screen. Horde. Oh, he took a good shot. Horde met by Romanowski.
I'm going out for an IV at halftime. 3rd and 2. And it is Sharp, who cannot one-handed. No. Covered by Romanowski. The ball hit the ground.
That's a heck of a catch, though. He caught that ball with his left hand.
I'll tell you.
The world of football has seen its fair share of intense and shocking moments, from players throwing punches,
Whoa. I don't even know what that was about.
kicking their opponents in the nuts,
Pat Jones. A nice gain on 2nd and 9.
and even spitting in their
Gotta
faces.
get him away, and then when he goes in, watch his head.
Yep.
He spit on the opponent. Our teammate Evan Walsh.
But when it comes to the title of the dirtiest player in the NFL, there is only one name that rings a loud bell. This guy, Bill Romanowski.
Con el mismo Terrence Mathis.
Atrás Chandler, cargaron y detenido atrás. Fue Romanowski.
He said, "I felt I could take myself to a place where other guys weren't willing to go because come Sunday after a game, I already started hating the next opponent. I started hating the guy I was going to go against," says Romanowski. "I hated the coaches. I hated their fans. I hated their family. You name it. And by the time I got onto that field come Sunday, watch out, because there was rage." William Thomas Romanowski, nicknamed Romo, was born on April 2nd, 1966 in Rockville, Connecticut. His father's strong background as a baseball standout ignited Romanowski's passion for sports at an early age. This drove him to become part of various youth sports teams before discovering his true calling as a member of the Rockville High School football team during his freshman year. During his sophomore year, Romanowski stepped onto the varsity squad, standing just over 6 feet tall and weighing 170 pounds. Recognizing the need to bulk up for his football aspirations, he diligently worked on his physique over the next couple of years. He filled out in his last 2 years, said Romanowski's high school coach, Tom Dunn. He had an outstanding work ethic and played every down as if it were the last down in a championship game. At times, we had to try to tone him down a bit so that he wouldn't expend all of his energy before the game was over.
Billy has never forgotten where he comes from, and he's never forgotten the things that made him what he is today. And one of the things that he's always done is he want to give back to the community. He has a great fondness for Vernon, great fondness for Rockville, and in particular Rockville High School.
This commitment paid off as he evolved into an all-state linebacker, showcasing his versatility by also taking on roles as an offensive lineman, tight end, fullback, and punter. When Romanowski set foot on the field, opponents knew they had to stay vigilant.
On the blitz, and he just about killed Holcomb.
His tackles were as precise as a chess move, and one wrong step could lead to a quick stop. Colleges were all over him like bees to honey, but Romanowski narrowed his options down and chose Boston College, where he arrived in the summer of 1984 with no expectations of an immediate role on the team. However, fate had other plans. As the preseason concluded, Coach Jack Bicknell recognized his potential and got him into the game. During the 1984-85 season, Romanowski's playing time steadily increased, and he finally secured his spot as a starter by the conclusion of the Eagles' remarkable 10-2 season. The pinnacle of the season arrived at the Cotton Bowl Classic, where Romanowski's standout performance truly captured the spotlight.
25-yard line, no score first quarter. Pumps it. Batted down, and it was Romanowski who batted it down. Randy with the ball. Tries to keep it. Gets to the 36-yard line, and that's that. Romanowski made the tackle. Landry looking and keeping. About the 23-yard line when he ran into Romanowski. Landry brings them up. Landry's got it. Landry out across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Romanowski made the tackle.
What a change.
My goal coming in was to make the traveling team, maybe play special teams and try to work my way up, Romanowski said in 1985. I thought there was no way I would play linebacker my freshman year. Next thing I knew, I was on a plane headed for Alabama to play on special teams. Romanowski's senior year at Boston College didn't exactly go as planned. The Eagles took a nosedive, ending the season with a rather lackluster 5-6 record. But you know what? That didn't faze Romanowski one bit. Believe it or not, during that very season, he pulled off something quite remarkable. He piled up a jaw-dropping 156 tackles, with a whopping 101 of those being solo tackles. And if that wasn't enough, he even snagged 2 interceptions. Talk about making an impact. The attitude on the field was different that day than at any other time during the season. We were all playing together, pulling for each other, said Romanowski in 1985. For his incredible performance, Romanowski walked away with the prestigious George Bulger Lowe Award, which crowned him as the MVP of New England's college football scene. But here's the kicker. He wasn't just a star on the field. Nope, he was no slouch when it came to hitting the books either. Even with all the action on the field, Romanowski maintained a respectable B average in his studies, and that earned him the Thomas F. Scanlon Memorial Award, a fancy title for being the brightest football scholar athlete at Boston College. Fast forward to 2011, and Romanowski earned his well-deserved spot in the Boston College Varsity Club Athletic Hall of Fame, a recognition he achieved after graduating with academic honors in 1988.
I tell you what, it was quite an honor to be back here in Chestnut Hill, Boston College. You know, this is where it all began, and you know, the roots are really deep, and I bleed maroon and gold, and this is where it all started. I have such wonderful memories and such a great coaching staff, a lot of great players that I got to play with, and just brings back so many wonderful memories.
But then, in a twist,
Screen for Curtis Martin. Martin midfield. Cracked down at the 40-yard line and a penalty marker fly.
Bill Romanowski, we talked to him on Friday. Look at Curtis Martin. He's protecting that football. But what did he say to us Friday? He goes,
Drop setting up the screen. Hort. Oh, he took a good shot. Hort met by Romanowski.
They get to play football in the National Football. They're getting paid millions of dollars. Pay me a stick of bubble gum. Cut off my arm right now. I'm in. Go. I'm in. Count me in. I'm going.
following a successful 4-year college degree in 1988, he was selected by the San Francisco 49ers in the third round of the 1988 NFL Draft. The evolution of Romo into the formidable player he would become was explored in an ESPN article titled "Two Cracked Code." This investigation delved into the factors that contributed to his transformation on the field. You might wonder where Bill Romanowski's inclination to dominate, crush, and conquer his opponents came from. Well, it all traces back to this pivotal moment. Romanowski also offered a reason for his on-screen persona, which he developed as a rookie with the 49ers in 1988. During a game against Oakland, Ethan Horton, another tight end, pushed Romanowski in the back, and the young linebacker didn't retaliate. The next day at a film session, future Hall of Fame safety Ronnie Lott shut off the projector, turned on the lights, and punked Romanowski for allowing himself to get punked. "This is a game about respect," Lott said. "If you let someone do that again, I'll come after you myself." Romanowski ingested that advice, and for the next 15 years applied it whenever possible. The jury heard about his kicking Larry Centers in the head, breaking Kenny Collins' jaw, and spitting on J.J. Stokes. And what was the explanation? That Ronnie Lott told him not to be a punk.
And he said, "Romo, if I ever see anybody push you in the back and you don't do something about it, I will personally kick your ass. And this is a game of respect. If you're going to let somebody punk you, they will punk you right out of this league.
And if you thought he cut his teammates any slack, well, you'd be mistaken. People couldn't stand the guy because he was always that intense, even during practice. I mean, imagine going all out to tackle teammate Jerry Rice during a practice session. That's the kind of teammate he was. It's like he couldn't dial down the competitiveness even when it wasn't game time.
You broke an unwritten rule, probably an unwritten rule of the entire NFL. You hit Jerry Rice as hard as you possibly could in practice, your own teammate.
That one was an accident. That was one where I was engaged with a blocker. He came around on a reverse. I came off the blocker, stuck my arm out, and boom, nailed Jerry right to the ground.
You ended up getting in a fight with him.
He came after me.
This guy didn't care about who you were, he was just going to come after you. He became a feared and respected player, but he also developed a reputation for being dirty and dangerous, especially after the following incident. In a moment that would reverberate throughout his career, Romanowski unleashed a right uppercut, finding its mark on the left eye of his teammate, tight end Marcus Williams. The impact shattered Williams' eye socket, resulting in lasting physical and emotional damage. Diagnosed with depression, brain damage, and PTSD by his doctors, Williams' struggle was undeniable. And that was the end of his career, right there. A sad loss for NFL football. Former teammate recounted the incident. What happens next isn't on tape, but no one disputes how the scene played out. It's why the jury is here 2 years later in California Superior Court on the 3rd floor of Oakland's administration building. What happened next? Williams blocked Romanowski. Romanowski grabbed Williams by the neck of his jersey. Williams disengaged, and then, Williams says, he raised his arms as if to say it's over. But it wasn't. Romanowski stepped toward Williams and grabbed his face mask. Williams grabbed back before quickly letting go, but Romanowski continued pushing on Williams' helmet so violently that his head jerked back. As Williams' helmet flew off and his head recoiled forward, Romanowski's right fist smashed into his face. The 6'4", 250-pound Williams fell to the ground unconscious, his left eye socket shattered, a tooth chipped. He came to within seconds, felt blood on his cheek, and saw Romanowski standing over him shouting, "Don't ever effing hold me!" "I've never seen anything like that," he said. Williams went full legal on Romo, fought the court battle, and came out on top. Romanowski had to pay the sum of $415,000 in a court settlement. And in 1995, Romanowski again found himself amid controversy. In a match against the Arizona Cardinals, he kicked the Cardinals' fullback, Larry Centers, in the head, not once, but a staggering 5 times.
And that didn't help.
There was some penetration. I think it was Ronnie Dixon first, but there was some and Romanowski still involved in it. Oh, there comes the flag.
And Larry Centers was down at the bottom of the pile.
Larry Centers looked like he was kicking some guys there late, too.
Unsurprisingly, this resulted in his ejection from the game, and he was slapped with a $4,500 fine.
Whoa!
That's too bad because he had played well.
Fast forward to 1997, when Romanowski was donning the jersey of the Denver Broncos. It was the preseason, the time when teams test their mettle before the real battles begin. Yet Romanowski's intensity seemed to know no bounds. He catapulted himself helmet first into a Carolina Panthers quarterback, Kerry Collins, a brutal helmet-to-helmet collision that left Collins with a broken jaw. The astounding part? No penalty flags flew on the field that day, but the league acted swiftly, fining Romanowski $20,000 for his reckless actions. As the season progressed, Romanowski's antics didn't subside. Facing his former team, the San Francisco 49ers, he managed to stir up more controversy.
I think it was the shot to the head that made the...
Well,
they got the call, and
it's Romanowski's head.
In a chaotic pileup, Romanowski was accused of tugging on the groin of the 49ers' J.J. Stokes.
Stokes, flag down. Finally tackled at the 22-yard line.
Unsettlingly, the linebacker's response was just as outrageous. He locked eyes with Stokes and with a shocking audacity, spat right in his face.
They're going to have roughing the passer, I think, called against Denver.
I didn't see it happen, but the next thing you know, you're starting to hear the rumblings. Romo just spit in J.J. Stokes' face. Did what? He spit in his face.
Here's play before. That's J.J. Stokes, I think, talking to Bill Romanowski. Ooh, and there is a real lack of social graces on the part of Romanowski.
That event certainly didn't go over smoothly with anyone. Not only was Romanowski alleged a dirty player and a cheap shot artist, he was accused of being racist by opponents and teammates alike. His teammate Shannon Sharp said,
I was upset at Romanowski, not because he was white and spit in a black guy's face, because he disrespected another man. And I couldn't condone what he did simply because he was my teammate. If my brother's wrong, he's wrong. I'm mad enough to tell him he's wrong. And that's what I did. I was mad enough to tell Bill Romanowski he was wrong.
It turned into a race issue at that particular point. Romo spitting into a black man's face. Was it racially motivated? I'd be hard-pressed to say it was. But did he do something that could be construed that way? Yeah.
NFL official Gene Washington's $7,500 fine on Romanowski sparked dissatisfaction amongst players who felt it inadequately addressed the issue, prompting a conversation about fairness and race in penalties. I'm disappointed to know that my decision was viewed by some players as being a minor punishment and that it would have been more severe if a black player spit on a white player, said Washington.
What I did was wrong, and I apologized to him. When emotions are high, logic is low.
Romo made an effort to remain composed. However, he faced penalties for his unlawful tackles as well as for striking Chiefs tight end Tony Gonzalez and intentionally targeting Jets linebacker Brian Cox by throwing a football towards his groin region. Between 1995 and 2002, the extensive record of penalties and conflicts involving Romo was truly astonishing. These incidents weren't just moments of aggression. They painted a vivid portrait of Romanowski's volatile and confrontational approach to the game.
Things like this can destroy a ball club, and it very well could. And that's when we had this meeting, and, we asked Romanowski.
Years later, Romanowski was called in for an interview. If I weren't more informed, I'd mistake this situation for one of those gripping murder case interrogations you'd typically watch on a TV show.
In his book, Romo, My Life on the Edge, Romanowski writes about a playoff game against the Giants, where he found himself buried with running back Dave Meggett.
I'm pissed, and I'm down there just trying to rip that ball out of his hands. And all I could get was a finger. And at that time, I thought it was his, but just whatever it was, I just snapped it. And I could hear a scream at the bottom of the pile.
You broke his finger and you thought to yourself, good. He's not going to be so effective anymore.
At that time, yes.
Man, that's cold.
That's awful.
Damn, that's insane. What was driving him? Romanowski opened up about his motivations. He admitted that fear and pressure drove him to the edge. What was driving him? A fear of failure. The fear of not being good enough, Romanowski says. In professional football, the competition is so intense. Is he good enough? Is he fast enough? Does he hit people hard enough? Does he get hurt a lot? I didn't want that to happen to me. I didn't want to lose my job. Romanowski says that pressure is what drove him every day, and it drove him, from time to time, over the edge. It was this same fear that drove him into taking steroids. Now just imagine how intense he was even without steroids. A major bombshell rocked the scene when it came to light that Romanowski had supposedly been a client of the Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative, or BALCO. This notorious supplier dealt in performance-enhancing drugs, including powerful anabolic steroids. Romanowski says Conte gave him bullet-sized vials of a foul-tasting gold liquid. It was a new anabolic steroid the NFL wasn't testing for, known as THG, what Conte called the clear.
He called it a clear substance, possibly a pro-hormone, a designer steroid. He really didn't know exactly what it was. He just thought maybe this could help, and it wasn't something that they could test for.
There's clearly a problem. They offer you a drug that hasn't been tried before and you decide to take it? While the range of side effects from these substances is wide, they often include intense neurological reactions like irritability, aggression, and even violent behavior. You might think most of his problems came from roid rage, but he didn't start taking steroids until 2001 to 2003. So his behavior in his first 13 years in the league was all him. It gets even crazier, because THG wasn't the only substance he tried from Conte.
Did you take human growth hormone from Victor Conte as well?
I took it a brief period of time, and I didn't receive any great benefits. Definitely didn't receive what I got out of THG or what I thought I was getting out of THG.
In his book, Romanowski wrote,
You wrote, as soon as I found out something could be tested for, I stopped taking it.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're saying here is you did everything you could get away with.
You know, I compromised my morality to get ahead, to play another year, to play 2 more years, to win another Super Bowl.
Eventually, his career came crumbling down. Romanowski said his son found out about the drugs at school.
I had a little boy that looks up to his dad. And he said, Dad, do you do drugs? That would hurt me more than anything.
He told his son that he used different ways to handle the pain from playing the game. Now the effects of dealing with the game's hardships have caught up with him. Julie Romanowski, his wife of 12 years, was in the stadium. Then when the team doctor came out and said, "We want to admit Bill immediately to the hospital," and he came out and said, "Julie, please just take me home. I don't want to go." And at that moment, I saw somebody who was normally larger than life turn to me in almost a boyish way asking for help. Romanowski couldn't see straight or balance. He had headaches and nausea. Now, 2 years later, doctors say he shows profound slowing in cognitive functions, which may get better with time. And you know, I think you have these illusions, dreams, nightmares, that maybe you can still do it, says Romanowski, admitting that he never cleaned out his locker in Oakland. At the end of the day, encountering a furious Bill Romanowski is the last thing anyone would wish for. His on-field behaviors have left an indelible imprint on the NFL, firmly cementing his name as the dirtiest player in football history. And there you have it, folks. Were there any moments that shocked you? What are your thoughts about his violent career? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. Also, check out our other video linked at the top right. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next episode.